Hello chat, he's back. Another 3 5 minute long tutorial, this time on animation and foreshortening. They go together like a fag and got. What most people tend to struggle with in animating is how perspectives work, and I'm sure that this will at least help you some. Now, I came out of the womb knowing what foreshortening was, but probably due to our uber autism, I think, but a lot of y'all are quite, confused. Without knowing how it works, your animation will look flat and a lot less dynamic. Foreshortening is just perspective, aka where the camera. So when you draw and you have your subject positioned where the shot is, say like you have a Dutch angle drawing of some queer character reaching for the viewer, like that. The arm isn't at the size it's pointing sort of at you. I forgot how to describe it, but you'll see what I mean in the examples I'll show. So now that you're hopefully aware of what I mean, let's get into it. First step is find a reference. Could be anything, just search a perspective pose and pick one. Now that you have your pose, map out geometrical shapes on it. Rotoscoping isn't bad. Whoever said it was is a perfectly quaint place and hell for them. And now the great thing about cylinders is how simple and dynamic they can be. You can imagine a cylinder in any position without struggle, unlike say an arm or a leg. And it fits the shape of many things like a torso, forearms, necks, etc. So the easiest way to describe perspective is that it sort of shrinks the further it gets away, makes it look a lot more 3D in my opinion. Like when your teacher made you draw a cube in 3rd grade and you had to do all the square things like that. When you have your cylinder thing drawn out, you can draw around it. Like say we're drawing a hand and the hand's at the front, correct? And we'll connect to the arm and go further away to where the shoulder is, making it look a lot more dynamic. You can always make it look better with shading, but it probably already looks fine. Remember, if you just imagine it or use a reference, it'll be a lot easier. Everything should be cylinders due to the flat top and flat bottom, albeit because it's easier to work with that way. Alright, part 2, animation. Now, most people tend to struggle due to their inability to recognize what type of frames they need to use. There's 3 very important types of frames. There's smear frames, impact frames, and static frames. We'll get into each of them periodically. So smear frames is a sudden frame of extreme distortion in between a really fast or vigorous movement, cause in real life when someone jumps you can't really see their face very clearly when they're mid-jump. You see a slight blur due to light. Here's an example with a quick animation I made. See how the ball is distorted in the middle? That makes it look a lot smoother. You can exaggerate it or dumb it down depending on how fast the movement is. Number 2, impact frames. Impact frames are an extreme jump from one pose/position to another, and they're also to signal extreme movement, but at the peak of said movement instead of between it. So it shouldn't be distorted, but as detailed as you can make it. Helps set the tone for the rest of the scene. But like say when the person's jumping and that when they're in midair, like you'll see what I mean. Here's an example. See how when the creature reaches the height of its jump, it's sort of just pace there, yeah, like that. Then follow it with some smear frames or whatnot. And number 3, static frames. Static frames are frames that match the exact same tone or energy as the last frame with little movement, like straight static animating without any impact or smear frames. I prefer to use them to emphasize slow movement or the other, like stopping or relaxing of something after it moves. You'll see what I mean. See how I drew 2 frames for the start and the end before the smear frame? Yeah, it makes it look a lot smoother than if I per se decided not to draw them, which would be just 3 frames. These are some very basic, very lemon tips in my opinion, but a little goes a long way. I can animate pretty fine, I guess, but of course I still have a lot to learn, like coloring, which I will never fucking do. I will never color, sue me. Yeah, okay, bye fagatrons.